Captain Diana Reeves stared at the empty void where New Haven Colony should have been. 3 days ago, 12,000 people called this place home. Now only twisted metal and frozen debris drifted in the darkness, catching starlight like scattered diamonds against black velvet. Scanner readings confirm it, Lieutenant Jake Morrison said from his station, voice tight with disbelief. Complete structural collapse, no life signs detected anywhere in the system. Diana's fingers gripped the armrest of her command chair. The patrol ship Defiance had responded to New Haven's distress beacon, but they'd arrived too late. Far too late. She'd served in the Outer Rim for 15 years, seen pirate raids and asteroid strikes, but nothing like this. Entire colonies didn't just vanish overnight. "What about the other settlements?" she asked, though part of her already knew the answer. Dr. Rebecca Foster looked up from her science console, auburn hair falling across tired eyes. Kepler Station and Meridian Outpost show the same pattern. Complete destruction, no survivors. Whatever hit them was thorough and fast. Jake turned in his seat, young face pale. "Captain, this wasn't pirates or corporate raiders. The destruction patterns are too uniform, too complete. This looks like military action." Diana nodded grimly. That's what she'd been thinking too. But military action by whom? The 3 major human factions had been at peace for decades, and no alien species had shown aggressive intent toward human space. Most of the galaxy's inhabitants were either peaceful traders or kept to themselves. "Dr. Foster, can you determine what kind of weapons were used?" Rebecca's fingers danced across her console, pulling up molecular analysis data. The metal fragments show signs of directed energy weapons, but the signature is unlike anything in our databases. The beam coherence is beyond current human technology, and the targeting precision is, she paused, swallowing hard. It's surgical. They knew exactly where to hit to cause maximum structural damage with minimum energy expenditure. A chill ran down Diana's spine. Professional, efficient, alien. This wasn't random violence or territorial dispute. This was something else entirely. "Captain," Jake called out, his voice suddenly urgent. "I'm picking up a transmission fragment from New Haven's emergency beacon. It's heavily corrupted, but I think I can clean it up." "Do it." The bridge fell silent except for the hum of electronics and life support. Jake worked frantically at his station, sweat beading on his forehead. After several tense minutes, static-filled speakers crackled to life. "Unknown vessels approaching. Stealth technology. Can't get a lock. They're jamming everything. Dear God, they're firing. Shields are useless. Colony defense grid is down. Massive casualties. This is Administrator Chen with final transmission. Warning all human settlements, we are under attack by... The message dissolved into static and screaming, then cut off entirely. Diana felt her blood turn to ice. An unknown enemy, with stealth technology and weapons that could punch through colony shields like paper. 3 settlements destroyed in what appeared to be a coordinated strike. This wasn't just an attack on the Outer Rim colonies. This was the opening move in a war. "Jake, send a priority message to Earth Command immediately. Code Black Protocol. Tell them we have confirmed alien aggression against human targets and request immediate fleet deployment." "Already on it, Captain," Jake replied, fingers flying across his console. "Message sent via quantum burst transmission. They should receive it in 6 hours." Rebecca stood up from her station, face grave. "Diana, if this enemy has the technology to completely mask their approach and the firepower to eliminate colony defenses in minutes, then we're dealing with a threat unlike anything humanity has faced before." Diana knew Rebecca was right. In all their expansion into space, humans had been the aggressors more often than not. They'd conquered worlds, established colonies, and pushed ever outward with determination that impressed even alien observers. But now something had pushed back, and it had teeth. "Captain," Jake's voice interrupted her thoughts. "Long-range sensors are detecting gravitational anomalies throughout this sector. Multiple objects moving at high velocity, but I can't get a visual lock." Diana's heart began to race. "How many objects?" "At least 20, possibly more. They're using some kind of gravitational masking that makes precise counts impossible. Distance and heading. Jake's face went white. They're heading directly for us, Captain. Estimated time to intercept 12 minutes. The bridge erupted into controlled chaos as the crew prepared for potential combat. Diana's mind raced through options. The Defiance was a patrol vessel, designed for peacekeeping and light exploration. Against whatever had destroyed 3 colonies, they wouldn't last 5 seconds in a direct fight. All hands battle stations, Diana announced over the ship's intercom. This is not a drill. Unknown hostile forces are approaching our position. Prepare for evasive maneuvers. Commander Nathan Cross appeared on the main view screen, his grizzled face showing the strain of emergency coordination. He was broadcasting from the Fleet Command ship Vigilant, stationed 3 systems away. Diana, we received your transmission. Fleet Command is mobilizing everything we have, but it'll take 18 hours minimum to get significant forces to your position. Can you evade until then? Diana looked at her tactical display, watching the invisible enemies close in. Nathan, they took out 3 fortified colonies without breaking stride. I don't think the Defiance can outrun whatever this is. Then don't try to outrun them, Nathan said grimly. Get close enough to identify the threat, then get that information back to Earth. Whatever happens, humanity needs to know what we're facing. The connection cut off, leaving Diana alone with her crew and the approaching darkness. She looked around the bridge at the people who'd served with her for years. Jake, barely 25 but brilliant at tactical analysis. Rebecca, whose scientific mind had solved countless problems in their patrol missions. Chief Engineer Tommy Rivera, whose voice crackled over the intercom from the engine room. Captain, I've got the engines running at 110%. We can maintain this for maybe 30 minutes before things start melting. Do it, Tommy. We need every advantage we can get. The ship lurched forward, acceleration pressing everyone back into their seats. On the tactical display, the invisible pursuers adjusted their course to match. Whatever they were fast and determined. Captain, Rebecca called out, studying her sensor readings intently. I'm detecting some kind of electromagnetic distortion pattern around the approaching vessels. It's subtle, but there's definitely something there. Can you use it to target them? Maybe. If I can calibrate our weapons to track the distortion instead of trying to penetrate their stealth. Rebecca's fingers flew across her console. I need 2 minutes. You've got them, Diana replied, though she wasn't sure they had. 2 minutes left. Jake suddenly straightened at his station. Captain, something's changing. The lead vessels they're decloaking. On the main view screen, reality seemed to ripple and tear. Massive shapes emerged from nothingness, sleek and predatory. The alien ships were unlike anything in human databases, with hulls that seemed to absorb light and weapons arrays that pulsed with malevolent energy. My God, Rebecca whispered. They're beautiful and terrible. Diana had to agree. The enemy vessels moved with organic grace, as if alive, rather than constructed, but there was something coldly efficient about their formation, something that spoke of countless battles and victories. A transmission crackled through the ship's communications array. The voice that emerged was harsh, mechanical, translated by universal language protocols. Human vessel, you have witnessed the cleansing of inferior settlements. Submit for processing or be destroyed. You have 30 seconds to comply. Diana looked at her crew, seeing her own determination reflected in their faces. Humanity had spread across the stars through courage, ingenuity, and stubborn refusal to surrender. They wouldn't start now. This is Captain Diana Reeves of the Earth Patrol Ship Defiance. She broadcast back. I don't know who you are or why you attacked our colonies, but you picked the wrong species to threaten. Humanity doesn't submit. We fight. The alien response was immediate and devastating. Energy beams lanced out from multiple ships, striking the Defiance's shields with overwhelming force. The bridge shook violently as power systems overloaded and emergency lighting kicked in. Shields down to 20%, Jake reported through gritted teeth. They're toying with us, Captain. If they wanted us dead, we'd already be vapor. Diana realized he was right. The enemy could have destroyed them instantly but chose not to. They wanted something, and that gave humanity its first small advantage in what promised to be a very long war. Rebecca, did you get those sensor readings? Got them and transmitted everything to Earth Command, Rebecca replied. Whatever happens to us, humanity will know what's coming. Diana smiled grimly as the alien ships closed in around them. The Defiants might not survive the next few minutes, but they'd given their species something more valuable than another patrol ship. They'd given them a warning and a promise. The war for humanity's survival was about to begin. 18 hours after the Defiants went silent, Earth's most classified facility hummed with desperate activity. General Patricia Vale stood before a massive holographic display showing the outer rim sectors, red markers indicating the destroyed colonies, and the last known position of Captain Reeves's patrol ship. Status report, Patricia demanded, her steel gray hair pulled back in a regulation bun despite the early hour. Chief Engineer Tommy Rivera, who had miraculously survived the Defiance's capture, stood at attention despite his bandaged arm. General, the aliens call themselves the Kethmori Empire. They've taken Captain Reeves and Lieutenant Morrison alive along with Dr. Foster. They're using them as leverage. Patricia's jaw tightened. She'd known Diana Reeves for 20 years, served with her during the corporate wars. The thought of her friend in alien hands made her blood boil, but she forced herself to remain calm. Emotion was a luxury they couldn't afford. What did we learn from the sensor data Dr. Foster transmitted? Dr. Claire Wong, Earth's leading xenotechnology specialist, stepped forward with a tablet full of analysis. Their stealth technology operates on quantum phase manipulation, something we thought was theoretically impossible. Their weapons use concentrated dark matter, which explains why our shields were useless. Patricia nodded grimly. And their numbers? Conservative? Estimates suggest a fleet of over 200 vessels, possibly more. They're systematically working their way toward Earth, testing our defenses and gathering intelligence. The room fell silent, except for the hum of electronics and the distant rumble of construction. Patricia walked to the sealed blast doors at the far end of the command center and pressed her palm against the scanner. The massive doors slid open with a pneumatic hiss, revealing something that made even the experienced officers gasp. Project Sentinel stretched out before them, a vast underground complex that had been secretly constructed over the past 50 years. Rows upon rows of sleek black ships filled the cavern, each one roughly the size of a destroyer, but built with technology that pushed the boundaries of human engineering. "Gentlemen, ladies," Patricia said, her voice carrying across the enormous space, "meet humanity's insurance policy." Ambassador Claire Wong stepped beside her, eyes wide with amazement. "General, I've been in government for 30 years and I've never heard of this project." Patricia smiled coldly. That was the point. After the corporate wars, a small group of us realized that humanity's expansion into space would eventually bring us into conflict with something we couldn't handle through conventional means. We began Project Sentinel as a black-budget operation, funded through dozens of shell corporations and hidden research facilities. She gestured toward the nearest ship, its hull seeming to absorb light like the alien vessels they'd encountered. These aren't just warships, they're something else, entirely. Each one contains an artificial intelligence based on human neural patterns, but enhanced beyond anything we've created before. They're fast, adaptive, and absolutely ruthless when it comes to protecting humanity. Chief Engineer Rivera examined the nearest vessel with professional interest. "What kind of weapons systems are we talking about?" "Singularity weapons," Patricia replied. "Miniaturized black holes that can tear apart matter at the quantum level. Temporal disruption fields that can slow enemy vessels to a crawl. And something we call the Phoenix Protocol, but I'll explain that later." A communication alert echoed through the facility. The main display flickered to life, showing the bridge of an alien vessel. Captain Diana Reeves stood in the center, flanked by two imposing figures in elaborate armor. Her uniform was torn and she had a cut above her left eye, but her expression was defiant. The alien commander spoke in perfect English, his voice carrying an undertone of superiority that made Patricia's skin crawl. "I am War Prime Vextar of the Kethmori Empire. Your Captain Reeves has been most informative about human military capabilities." Diana's eyes flashed with anger. "I told them nothing useful, General. but they're planning something big. Vextar's mandibles clicked in what might have been amusement. Indeed. In 72 hours, the full might of the Kethmori fleet will arrive at your world. We offer you the same choice we offered your colonies. Submit and be processed, or resist and be exterminated. Patricia stepped forward, her voice carrying deadly calm. War Prime Vextar, I am General Patricia Vale of the Earth Defense Forces. I have a counter-proposal. The alien leader's head tilted slightly. You dare to negotiate from a position of weakness? Who said anything about weakness? Patricia smiled, and there was something predatory in the expression. You destroyed 3 lightly defended colonies and captured a single patrol ship. You haven't seen what humanity is really capable of. Vexitar's laugh was harsh and grating. Your species is primitive, General. Your weapons are crude, your tactics predictable. The Kethmori have conquered 17 star systems. Humanity will be the 18th. Patricia's smile widened. 72 hours, you said? Perfect. That gives us time to prepare a proper welcome. She paused, meeting Diana's eyes through the transmission. Captain Reeves, tell your captors something. For me. Diana straightened despite her restraints. Yes, General. Tell them that humanity has a saying, it's not the size of the dog in the fight, it's the size of the fight in the dog. Patricia's voice dropped to a deadly whisper. And War Prime, you just picked a fight with the wrong species. The transmission cut off, leaving the command center in tense silence. Patricia turned to her officers, the weight of command heavy on her shoulders. Dr. Wong, I need you to coordinate with our xenobiology teams. If we're going to fight these aliens, we need to understand their weaknesses. Chief Rivera, you're now acting chief engineer for Project Sentinel. I need all 200 ships operational within 60 hours. Rivera saluted crisply. Yes, General. What about rescue operations for the captured crew? Patricia's expression softened slightly. Diana knew the risks when she chose to serve on the Outer Rim. Right now, our priority is protecting Earth and the inner colonies. We'll get our people back, but first we have to make sure there's still a humanity left to rescue them. The next 60 hours passed in a blur of activity. The Sentinel ships were brought online one by one, their AI systems awakening with an almost organic grace. Each artificial intelligence was unique, based on the neural patterns of humanity's greatest tactical minds throughout history. They called themselves names like Hannibal, Napoleon, Sun Tzu, and Patton, though they were far more than simple copies of historical figures. Dr. Wong's research teams worked around the clock, analyzing every scrap of data from the alien encounters. They discovered that the Kethmori had a rigid caste system, with worker drones making up the bulk of their forces, and a small number of warrior leaders commanding from the rear. More importantly, they found that the aliens' dark matter weapons had a critical weakness. They required enormous amounts of energy to maintain coherence over long distances. On the morning of the 3rd day, Earth's orbital sensors detected the first gravitational anomalies. The Kethmori fleet was arriving in force, their massive vessels dropping out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the solar system. Patricia watched from the command center as red markers appeared on the tactical display, each one representing an enemy ship larger than anything in humanity's conventional fleet. Final count? She asked. 317 vessels, came the reply. They're arranging in a standard conquest formation, with the largest ships moving toward Earth while smaller vessels secure the outer planets. Patricia nodded. The aliens were following predictable tactics, which would work in humanity's favor. Begin Phase 1. Deploy the Sentinel fleet. Across the solar system, hidden launch bays that had been disguised as mining operations or research facilities opened to reveal humanity's secret weapon. The 200 Sentinel ships emerged from concealment like predators emerging from tall grass, their black hulls invisible against the void of space. War Prime Vextar stood on the bridge of his flagship, studying the tactical displays with growing confusion. Long-range sensors showed no significant military buildup around Earth, no massive fleet deployments. The humans appeared to be offering only token resistance. War Prime, his tactical officer reported, were detecting some unusual energy signatures throughout the system. Small vessels, possibly research ships or civilian transports. Vextar's mandibles clicked dismissively. Ignore them. Focus on the planetary defenses. Begin the bombardment sequence. That was when humanity showed its true face. The Sentinel ships struck simultaneously across the solar system. Their singularity weapons tore through Kethmori's shields, like tissue paper, while temporal disruption fields slowed the massive alien vessels to a crawl. The artificial intelligences coordinated their attacks with inhuman precision, each ship knowing exactly where its companions would strike. Within the first 10 minutes of combat, 50 Kethmori vessels had been destroyed or disabled. The aliens' superior numbers meant nothing when they couldn't target their attackers or coordinate their defenses effectively. On the flagship's bridge, Vextar watched his fleet being systematically dismantled by an enemy he couldn't even see properly. Impossible, he snarled. These humans were primitive. His tactical officer's voice was strained with disbelief. War Prime, their weapons technology is beyond anything in our databases. And their ships? They're not following any tactical doctrine we've encountered. It's as if each vessel is being commanded by a different strategic genius. Vextar's blood ran cold. He'd made the classic mistake of underestimating an enemy based on limited information. The humans had deliberately appeared weak, allowing the Kethmori to commit their full force before revealing their true capabilities. The communication from Earth came through on all frequencies, cutting through the chaos of battle. General Patricia Vale appeared on every screen in the Kethmori fleet, her expression grimly satisfied. War Prime Vextar, this is your final warning. Surrender immediately and release our people, or face complete annihilation. You wanted to see what humanity is capable of. Now you know. Vextar looked at his tactical displays, watching as more of his ships fell to the invisible attackers. His pride warred with his survival instincts, but the choice was clear. The Kethmori Empire had built its reputation on overwhelming force and technological superiority. They'd never encountered an enemy that could match their weapons and exceed their tactics. All ships, he broadcast to his remaining fleet, cease fire and assume defensive positions. Prepare for surrender protocols. Back on Earth, Patricia watched. The alien fleet powered down their weapons and clustered together in a defensive formation. The Sentinel ships maintained their positions but held their fire, waiting for further orders. A few hours later, Captain Diana Reeves, Lieutenant Jake Morrison, and Dr. Rebecca Foster were safely aboard an Earth transport, heading home. Diana stood on the observation deck, watching the defeated Kethmori fleet through the reinforced windows. "General," she said into her communicator, "how long has Project Sentinel existed?" Patricia's voice carried a hint of ancient weariness. "Since the day we first looked up at the stars and wondered what might be looking back, Diana. Humanity has always known that our greatest enemy wouldn't be poverty or disease or even ourselves. It would be the unknown darkness between the stars." Diana nodded, understanding. "And now?" "Now we've sent a message to anyone else who might be watching," Patricia replied. "Humanity protects its own. We'll explore the galaxy in peace if we can, but we'll fight for our survival if we must. And we'll win, because that's what humans... Turisir." As the transport headed toward Earth, Diana looked out at the stars with new eyes. Somewhere out there, other alien civilizations would hear about the Kethmori's defeat. They would learn that humanity was not prey, but predator. They would understand that the small blue planet that had seemed so vulnerable was protected by guardians who would never surrender. The age of humanity's expansion into the galaxy had truly begun, and the stars themselves would remember the day when Earth's children proved they were ready to claim their inheritance among the cosmos. War Prime Vextar, now a prisoner aboard a human vessel, stared out at the same stars and felt something he'd never experienced before: respect for an enemy. The humans had taught his empire a valuable lesson about the dangers of underestimating an opponent. It was a lesson the Kethmori would not forget, and one they would share with others who might threaten this remarkable species. Humanity had awakened, and the galaxy would never be the same.